Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So excited for our next guest. I love talking about interior design, and we're with the expert herself, Lynda Griffin, joining us here. Yes, she's from Creative Interior Designs by Lynda, and that's Lynda with a Y, Lynda. So go to CID by Lynda, lynda.com for more information, but you're going to get to know her on the show, and excited to talk about all the interior design work she does for your residential space. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm great.
Great.
Again, just trying to bear the snow and the cold. I'm a summer kid.
And where are you based out of, for those that may not know?
We are based out of Maryland, in Prince George's County, Maryland. Maryland is actually, Prince George's County is the second largest county in the state of Maryland, next to Baltimore County. So we're pretty large here.
Wow, large and in charge. And so is the company and the work you're doing. We're excited to talk about this.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's such a passion of mine. My company is Creative Interior Designs by Lynda. And we have been in business for almost 20 years. Gosh, I stopped counting after 15. So I do believe people keep saying it's been longer than that, Lynda. But we are a cool, innovative interior design firm, and that practices residential and commercial properties. And we love what we do. We have a great team of designers, contractors, that all come together to do some beautiful work and transforming lives in the process.
Beautiful. I know you're registered, licensed, insured in the state of Maryland, right?
Absolutely.
So we're talking furnishings, accessories, custom window treatments, lighting, flooring, just to name a few.
Absolutely.
Do you do any virtual services?
We do. There are times when some of our clients will ask us to provide renderings, and that is everybody's big thing now.
Got it. Yeah.
Of some of our design shows on some of the major networks. It's kind of introduced people to other elements of design. So if they say, well, we want a rendering to see what something's going to look like. What is our room or our space going to look like once it's all done? Can you show us that?
Yeah.
Then we can provide that to them virtually as well.
Awesome. Well, we got to get to know you first, because before we talk about, more of what you do, tell me about yourself. Where are you from? How did you get this knack for interior design? We want to know about you, Lynda. Go ahead.
Wow. Right. I'm often asked about that because I went to school, undergraduate school, at Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia, our Hampton Roads friends. And I studied urban planning, and I studied sociology, criminal justice, quite the opposite end. People say, well, how did you get to interior design? And so it started for myself at a very young age with my mother. My mother was an interior designer. And which many people may not realize, because interior design back then wasn't as prevalent as it is really now. But she designed some amazing spaces. We still collaborate on projects. She was truly my inspiration to designing and decorating and understanding balance and looks, but also knowing that I had a gift. And that was the biggest part of it. The gift, the talents, the skill, you start to really explore and take care of your friends and family, and all of a sudden you realize I do have this gift of it, and I obviously acquired it from my mother. So I've been around it all my life practically.
Beautiful.
So, yes.
And you also had a whole nother career, right?
Yes. So I had a whole nother career prior to that. Once I left college and got into the workforce, like many of our folks today, we got into case management and being a program analyst, and here in Maryland. And so I did that for a number of years, being able to connect with people. But my passion is still interior design. And we started our company in the midst of that. So there are moments where you can do multiple things, multiple jobs, as it is.
And you're also a mom, right? If you don't mind me mentioning.
Mom, yes.
You have a boy and a girl?
I do. My wonderful children, Kyler and Kylie, they are 8 and 4.
Oh my goodness.
Such my sweethearts. And my wonderful husband, who is retired Navy. So he has served our country for 24 years. And he's such an honorable, he really is my officer and a gentleman. And most everyone who knows me knows that I have mentioned him in that vein. And he's such a sweetheart.
God
So
bless.
wonderful, family. My family is still in Hampton Roads. If anyone has been to Virginia Beach, then
Yeah.
we weren't too far growing up from there and being around there. So it's been great.
Beautiful. Well, congrats. I have a 6 and 8 year
Thank
old. I
you.
don't know if you saw my son came in before. I'm working from home.
Yes,
So yeah, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So I'm like panicking. I'm like, I need my phone back before I start the next show. Yeah, I know.
exactly. I know.
But thank you for understanding. And it was off camera, but I'm like, oh my gosh, did she just see him? But it happens, right?
It does. It does. That's what we call lifing.
Thank you so much. You're awesome. Yeah, that's the little guy. Well, he turned 7 next month. I guess he's not so little, but you get it.
Wow.
So, as a mom, as a career woman, you're helping
Yes,
so many redesign, renovate existing spaces. And let's break
absolutely.
it down and start by getting some of the services that you offer specifically. Thank you.
Yes. So, when we get into interior design, there are a number of designers in the industry, and
Hmm.
everyone's not doing the same thing, but the majority of us are providing services like remodeling, space planning. Obviously, design build is a really big one because we're really getting into more of the commercial based projects that provide us opportunities to do design build. So when we come into remodeling, the one big thing we're looking at doing is, of course, providing you with a major transformation. So that could be walls and floors. And as you mentioned earlier, being able to provide electrical changes and modifications, plumbing modifications. So we are really a full service interior design firm that provides a number of services for our clients on those scales. And so we can build outdoor structures, even some of our landscaping projects. We have great landscapers and that are used to building aprons and patios. And so we do provide a number of full service design for our clients' needs. Mhm.
Got it. Well, thank you
Yeah,
for sharing that. And
yeah,
let's talk about the process. How does it all begin? Do
yes,
you offer an
yes.
initial consultation? And what happens during the way when you hire a designer?
Absolutely. So that's so key. And then I'm so glad you asked that question, Jill, because everyone says, well, I don't really know how this is and how this works. So then we get a chance to come in and walk you through the process. So really the first step is when you acquire an interior designer is to really just talk about what you want to see. So we're really interested to know, what is it that you want to do? That's the step one process. What do you want to see in your home? What kind of feel do you want in your home? It's your home. So we really want to bring that to life. Then the next part of that is us coming and doing some type of walkthrough, to just visually see and assess your project. Maybe ask some questions about, what are some of the colors you don't like? Because I think
Mm,
that that's always key. What are some things you want to see? And then our next process to that is really going in and bringing our contractors in, going over the services that fit your budget. Let's be real. Everybody has a
mm-hmm.
different budget, right, Jill? So
Yep.
we really want to make sure that everyone's budget is that we honor that before we move forward. We tell you, hey, look, this is what we're able to provide to you for your budget, and tell you how long it's going to take. I say often that I am very transparent for clients, being able to talk with them through the entire process from concept to completion. And then we come in, and I really love the moments when our clients like to get involved with hammering walls themselves, tearing them down, doing some renovation themselves and being a part of it. And then we build it back up to this beautiful transformed space. So it can take, anywhere between 30 days to 90 days, depending on the extent of the project.
Got it. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. And
Mhm,
let me
mhm.
ask you though, when you're working with a designer, we're talking start to finish. Are we talking
Yes.
renderings, 3D drawings? What is it? What do you work with now to help show people this space? And then,
Yes. Yes, that's the part of it. You mentioned it. It is rendering. So we talk about that and we go through that. The presentation part is obviously the biggest key. Obviously, we know we have a step one, step two coming in, take a look. But the biggest step is the presentation. And so everybody's excited about that because that really does show you what is this project going to look like? Because I've had people say to me, I was a little nervous about it because I didn't know what colors you were going to use. But we get to show you exactly what it's going to look like in our renderings, whether they're 2D, two-dimensional, or 3D, three-dimensional, which would be our colored version renderings. And we get to show you all of the aspects of what we're proposing to you in that colored version. That's the best part.
Got it. Well, also, we're going to talk about some tips to work with a designer. And before we do that, we're also going to encompass, there's more to her. Hello, we're talking interior design services, custom residential. We talked about office commercial design. Now there's staging. We're going to talk about that later too. And also fixtures, equipment installation. There's a lot that she offers. And just want to remind everyone who we're talking to, Lynda Griffin. That's Lynda. Google her, Griffin, and go to the website, Creative Interior Designs. That's CID by Lynda, spelled LYNDA.com. All right. So give us some tips. Go ahead.
So, it's good. Being an adjunct professor previously working with one of the local colleges, I get the chance or had the chance for a number of years teaching students on interior design. And some of those things have to do with, exploring tips. We call them maybe tips of the trade. But what we're really saying is these tips will actually help you acquire one so that you're very comfortable with one. The first thing, obviously, is coming in and providing that designer with what you want to see. So I often will ask you, the first thing is, do you have any pictures, anything that you can show me that you have a vision for? Oftentimes people need something to see, right?
I'm always tearing stuff out of magazines for one day when my kids are older because I can't keep anything neat and organized in this house.
Absolutely. So that would be one, right? You'll go to the store, find a magazine before you meet with the designer, and you kind of peruse through it so that you can kind of shape some of the ideas that you may have about what you want to see. Then when you show that to us, and one of the biggest things, obviously, electronically is some of the more social media platforms that are out that show you ideas about design. But show us that. Then the next step would be obviously going in and providing all the insight that you need to give to the designer. One of the biggest things, please make sure you have a budget. You have to know exactly what you're able to afford so that the designer can match you with the exact package that's best for you. Because often people think that they can't get a designer, but you really can afford a designer based on what budget you have.
Beautiful. Good to know. No, I love it. Thank you. Absolutely. And now let me also ask, interior design, do you have a favorite? Do you have a knack for kitchens, for bathrooms, for whole houses, closets? What do you love doing?
Such a good question.
And what is like the hot thing that everyone's doing? I just feel like during COVID, everyone was home so long, and now they're starting they want to make the kitchen bigger. They all want to have that big seat. It's like everyone's just in the kitchen. Is that like the hot spot? Everyone wants a bigger kitchen?
Yeah, it's still really the hot spot. It's the heartbeat of the home. And so everyone wants to come in and kind of reshape and recolor and restyle their kitchens. But they're finding they're doing more in them as well. And we're often, of course, being introduced to more colors, more styles, more appliances. Like we need more appliances, but we have more appliances that we're using now. So kitchens really are such that space, that scape that people want to transform. Now, it costs a little bit more, obviously, than some of your other spaces like bathrooms and your bedrooms and living rooms, but it is the heartbeat. But my most favorite space really would be living rooms, because those are where families gather as well. And we often know that we need to have space. What is the purpose of the space? What kind of furnishings are we going to use? It allows us a little bit more flexibility than your average kitchen, because once you put kitchens in your cabinets into your kitchen, that's kind of a wrap, right? But when you develop your living rooms, you have a plethora of things to do in that space that you can transform it to.
Got it. Thank you for the sharing. And by the way, I gotta ask, I know it's 2024, but I've moved in my house maybe 7 years ago, and I still don't have dining room furniture. The dining room became the toy room.
Yeah.
That's something common that you see. And then I hear, well, people aren't using dining rooms anymore anyway.
They
I'm
really are not. Oh my goodness. I've
like
heard
the
that so
china
much. And
cabinet, like with all the,
yes,
no, right? Is that kind of
exactly,
out?
Jill.
Yeah.
It's been back and forth. It's really been back and forth. I think we've been, as in the industry, we've been so creative about color and
Mm-hmm.
we've been so creative about lighting that really we've got to be more creative about the intended purpose of the room. So now that just means we have to address the elephant in the room, which is more about our developers and builders to building dining rooms. But we're starting to really kind of get to them to say, well, how about if we think differently about dining rooms? Make it a gathering space versus an
Mm-hmm.
actual dining room so that it has dual functions. Because you're always looking at your dining room table saying, when am I going to really get out to actually be in this space? Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then that may be it. So, those spaces are starting to be a little bit more trend to be dual purpose. But yeah, you're in the right space, Jill. We have sunrooms that are outfitted for playrooms. We have basement lower levels that are outfitted for an entire jungle of play equipment. So it does happen, but you can transform the space for it to be dual purpose too.
Beautiful. Good to know.
Hmm.
Maybe some
Hmm.
hideaway tables or I storage.
Absolutely. Storage,
And
storage,
I was going to
storage.
say, how about storage, right? A lot of people like,
Correct.
mm-hmm. Oh,
Correct.
all right. And so you offer an initial discovery call to someone, correct? That's
Yes.
interested in your services. Okay.
Correct.
And
Correct.
then, the process from there. I mean, is there different packages? How does it work when it comes to working with an interior designer as far as,
Yeah.
the cost? You set everything up ahead of time. And what if people, I mean, there's going to be changes along the way. So just not sure how you work as a designer. If you want to
Right.
share some of the full design service, how it works. And then you also have,
Absolutely.
after the design process, you have licensed contractors that you use
Correct.
too,
Hmm.
furniture dealers. And so you really can
Yeah.
show them pieces that you have access to. Some people might just want the
Right.
design and do it themselves, but you
Yeah.
can do it hands on, right?
Exactly, because that's a part of the full service
Yep.
is that in the package of it all. So, we come in and again, we go through the walkthrough, we provide you with our portfolio, we talk about what packages best fit your budget, which is again key why we ask for what is your budget during the discovery call. Because that discovery call tells us, okay, well, if this is her budget and this is what she'd like to see, then let's shape, of course, our packages to help them meet that. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
about us coming out and you can't meet it. It is about us saying, okay, well, this is her budget. This is what we're able to do. But the next thing we have to do is what? See the space. Well, when we
Yep.
come out and do that walkthrough, we're taking pictures, Jill. We're taking measurements, everyone. We're really looking at the space to see how creative we can be to bring to life what you're looking to see in your space. And then after that time, it may be myself, it may be our contractors, because we're looking at measurements and whether it can work. Sometimes there are certain limitations
Yep.
that we have, right? For like your walls or your floors that we need to address in the beginning before we start getting and tearing up a space, basically. So once we do that, the next step is us coming in, making sure we provide schedules and remodeling schedules so that you know what's
Mm-hmm.
going on every step of the way. And then we're preparing behind the scenes, which I'm always giddy about because sometimes our clients are like, well, what's going on behind the scenes? We haven't heard. Well, usually we are a little quiet because we're pulling together samples and talking to our trade and our suppliers. We're pulling everything together for you for the big presentation. So the big
Wow.
presentation then shows you again the full rendering, everything you need to see in the space. And that wow effect, usually we like to add in. And so from there, after that process, we begin to work. So, I tell people we have to tear up to pretty up.
Yeah, it's so true. And let me ask you, I was looking at the website and I saw
Yeah.
the one of the pictures of your kitchens. I feel like I see a lot of the whole islands a different color now. There was a blue, beautiful
Yes.
island you did, and then white
Yes.
cabinets. Is that
Correct.
another trend?
It is. It is still very much a popular trend. And it's a trend that'll still be around for a little bit. I think we have come so far with our kitchens that you can do a number. You can actually do up to three palettes, color palettes in your kitchen. It could be your island one color, it could be your base cabinets in another color, and your uppers in another. And so that's just bringing more color and character into your
Okay.
kitchen now that we just didn't do before, right? Everything was one color.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely, that is a beautiful trend to keep going with. So if someone has that idea, that thought, then yes, we're able to provide all of that.
Beautiful. Now, tell
Yeah.
me a little about the staging work that you do as well. Some people might
Yeah.
not even be familiar with the term staging and what that is. Would you mind sharing?
Yes, absolutely. So staging, we get asked often about that because there are individuals, there are designers that specifically focus on staging, and then there's us designers who focus on all aspects of design. So staging is just another short-term way of being able to transform a space. It's usually for a particular reason. It's usually for resale purposes, which is why we stage. Or it could possibly be for some particular commercial event where we're staging it for a temporary purpose. But staging generally is very temporary. So what happens is, depending on the resale, like one of our projects that we had, we transformed, her entire townhome. That then added a lot of value to it based on the market and what the consensus was around in that neighborhood for the market. And so she sold that house, and after we staged it, she actually sold that house in about a week. She had multiple offers. We were extremely happy for her because this was her opportunity for retirement. And so she was able to leave and retire on knowing that her home was sold. But we transformed the bathrooms, the kitchens, which are key selling points, as often most people have either read or heard about, but those are your big ticket aspects to staging a space if it's up for resale. If it's just staging for commercial, it could be any room, but we'll come in, provide the goods for that, provide you with a short-term contract agreement. And then we go from there, and then the rest is pretty much history in terms of how it performs.
Now, do you have like your own like staging collection of stuff? Do you have
Actually,
like a warehouse to keep it all, or how does that process work? Or do you,
thank goodness, no.
I was like, do you rent it for sale? How does, yeah, that's got to be a lot of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. So no, we actually have our suppliers that provide us with staging goods. So, and that again, it's all on a leasing basis. And so you get a chance to operate that leasing opportunity with and pass through to your clients. So that you don't have to have a warehouse for all of that. Because, oh my gosh, Lord knows if I did, I'd probably have more and more things every year inside of that warehouse. But that's the good part. So we have partnerships where we don't need those facilities, but we do have staging goods with our suppliers, and so that they can provide us with all of that. Yep, short
Perfect.
term.
All right. Well, we still have just, gosh, oh my gosh, only 4 minutes left in the show. It goes so quick.
Wow, it did.
Yeah. What else did you want to make sure, for today, for our listeners to know?
Well, one of the biggest things for interior design, again, we talked about our tips, we talked about the process, we talked about a few of the trends, and most of the time, don't get so caught up in interested in our trends, because although we're providing you with some insight about it, trend can be whatever you desire in your space. How about that? Because it's your home, it's your space, and we want it to be transformative for you. A lot of our clients, we enjoy of course, looking at the finished product before they do. So we're always excited about the big reveal, which is always the big part of the end of the transformation, is the big reveal. But one of our big things that we've been doing is we have, of course, a wonderful interior design show, and it's called Destined for Design. And so I'll share more
Tell
about that.
me.
I want to share more about it too in our next episode. But just the fact that we're recording now here in Prince George's County in Maryland, and so we're looking out for projects, of course, from our clients that want to feature them on our TV show for Destined for Design. So they can find all this information out, of course, on our website and in Houzz. You can also find all of our work. For those that are interested in hiring an interior designer, Creative Interior Designs would love to and be honored to design your project. And so looking forward to talking more about interior design.
Me too. Tell us how we can reach out to you. And do you have social media pages as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can reach us by going to our website first, which is the cidbylynda.com. There is an inquiry there for you to use to reach out to us about a project. You can also find us on Facebook at Creative Interior Designs by Lynda. Instagram, oh my goodness, CID by Lynda. So if you just Google Creative Interior Designs by Lynda, you'll see all of our work. We're also in YouTube. We've been in publications. We've been featured
Wow.
on HGTV and DIY. So we've been out there.
Exciting stuff. Can't wait to hear more. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Are we back again next week?
Yes, we are back again next week. So I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect. Same here. Thank you again. Wishing you happy and healthy and an amazing new year. I know we're halfway into the month, but still happy new year.
No,
Good
same
things
to
for you and your
yeah.
family. And
Absolutely.
CID by Lynda, LYNDA.com. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Okay,
Thank
we
you
sure
so
will.
much.
Thanks so much.
Looking
Thanks for having
forward
me.
to it.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.